What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing. We are still on Lake Brownwood. This is actually our third Google Earth video for Lake Brownwood, and it looks like we're going to need one more before we can finish this one up. So we'll do what we can tonight, break down what we can. We're pretty much on the west side of the lake now, kind of starting to begin our turn down to the south end. So southwest end, I guess you could say. So stick around. I got some good stuff for you. Let's go. So here we are back on Lake Brownwood. Last time we went over the Google Earth side, we actually had it was our second video. We covered this whole western side, this whole bank line, pretty much all the way up to this north side right here where this point is. And then the first video, we actually covered from the dam all the way up the east side. So today we're going to continue on. We actually stopped right here at this sandy beach area. We stopped right there, but there were a couple things I wanted to show you that I was just looking around at and found just, messing around that I missed the first time. So instead of starting right there, we're going to start right here on this point. And again, if you missed these lake breakdown videos, just go out to our lake breakdown playlist. You can find this video as well as all the other Google Earth videos that go along with Lake Brownwood. And you'll find several other lakes that we have across Texas. I think we're up to 50, almost 60 different lakes that are out there now. So definitely making some pretty good progress there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this thing. I'm going to draw the date back to about, I think 2011 is where it's going to give me the best image. It's either 2011 or 13. Can't remember which one it is. Definitely not 13. There's one of 13, and that's a pretty decent image. That's probably going to be where we're going to start at. So the one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, I didn't cover it on the last video and didn't really see it until I kind of just was pecking around. I was like, you know what? I totally missed that. One is right down here. There's a little thing of debris, and I don't know what it is, but you can see it's a huge circle right here, almost like a big cylinder. So definitely check that out, see what that is. That may be like a fish attracting area. You never know what that is. And then if you look really closely at this area in here, to the common man, this looks like nothing. But to me, I see a really nice ditch that's right here in the middle of this cove that actually has some pretty good depth to it. So everything else around here is pretty shallow, right? But then you have this nice little ditch that comes right in here and makes a pretty nice little ditch right there. You can see it kind of swings out right here as well. That could be one of those spots, when it's really hard to find fish and you can't seem to find them anywhere up towards the bank or anything like that. That's one of those spots that they'll relate to. They can hunker down in that spot right there, still be really close to shallow water, but they've got enough water there that they can get the depth that they're looking for. So definitely look there in that ditch. And then the big spot that I missed the first time was way out here. I don't know how I missed it, but if you look out here, you've got a lot of debris and stuff. So I'm pretty much, this is going to start back here probably and go all the way up to about right here. But right in here, this is probably birds, but it could be rock. So check that out. But definitely right in here, you see some rock here, see some debris and stumps or whatever the heck that is. I don't even know what that stuff is. Here's that stuff that we saw earlier that was really weird looking. Don't know what that is, but some kind of debris, but definitely right here. And it could just be these rocks and they just look weird on this image. But you've got some really good hard area right in here. So definitely look there. You've got some more rock that's up here, some scattered little rock piles. I have no idea how I missed that the first time, but right here, basically, just this whole area right here looks like it's going to have some pretty good potential. All right, so let's get back up to where we were supposed to start at, and that's that Sandy Beach RV park. We've got a pretty good boat ramp here, and this one goes pretty far into the water. You can tell this lake fluctuates a lot because a lot of these ramps will go way out into the water. But look at this one. I mean, when you saw that ramp earlier, it was way out of the water, but here it's pretty well covered, and you can see when you zoom into it that this is going to be a good boat ramp. Why? Because people probably don't use it much. It looks pretty rough looking, and you can see all the algae and buildup all over the baseline of it. Well, that algae and buildup, it attracts those little microfish and things like that, and then that attracts the bluegills. And then when the bluegills come in, you know what's coming in next. You've got the bass following right behind them. So definitely take a look at these boat ramps, especially the ones like this that don't look like they get used very much. All right, so I'm going to back this back out Back to 2013. Come on, baby. And there we go. So now, as you can see, it looks a whole lot different. So let's keep going back here. When we get back in here, you'll notice that I marked this as a pond. And in this image, you can't really tell that it's really a pond. It might be washed out. But if I go back just a little bit further, now you can really tell that there's a pond there. So I'm not sure what's happened here, if this thing's just gotten totally washed out over time, or if the maybe just the hydrilla was, or hydrilla or whatever this is, some kind of vegetation. If it's growing up and it just makes it to where it's hard to tell, but there's something there. So maybe go check that out. And then as you get further back here, you've got a boat ramp that's way back there as well. All right, so I'm going to keep moving on. Again, I see another big, huge pile of rocks that I missed. Don't know how I missed those, but there's a nice rock pile right here. So we're definitely going to check that one out. Maybe I missed my mark somehow on that one. I wonder if the image, if you look here, you can tell there is some rock here, and it's not nearly as obvious as when I draw that back to 113. Now you realize there's a really nice rock pile there. So definitely go out and check that out. I like how that point comes out, and that's just a perfect place to put a giant rock pile. And then you got the scattered rock around here. You've also got some heavier rock that you can see right in this area. If I pull that image back up, you'll notice it's just some bigger, chunkier type rocks. And those are always really good ones to fish around. They're different than everything else. And you guys have heard me talk about it 1,000 times. You know, it's just like us buying houses. We want the biggest, baddest house that we can find on the block. And in this case, you know, that big rock is going to be the one that we're going to want to look for. All right, so let's keep moving on. We got some more rock in here around this boat dock. You can see it's getting a little chunkier. So you can kind of fish on the outside edges of these boat docks. That's really where the rock starts. It starts outside of where these docks are, but this one's got a nice pile right beside it. Then as we get in here, there's a little transition area. I didn't notice that the first time. There's got to be a transition area here because we saw that rock. The transition's almost right there on the edge of that dock right in there. So that's going to make that a higher percentage dock just because you've got a little transition area going on there as well. All right, so let's keep moving down. As we get over here to this point, just some rock that gets way out here off the point, some flat areas. I definitely take a look at that. Now you're going to kind of get it everywhere. You've got all the scattered rock around here. So you could really just fish all those docks and things, fishing around those rocks. You could probably have some pretty good success. We got an old boat ramp that's up here as well. So you could check that one out. Let's go see if that one has any. I don't know if that one's even good enough to fish around. They got to be concrete, number one. You can see we've got some laydowns and stuff that's in here now as well. That's probably been washed up there. That is definitely an old boat ramp. So if you can find that ramp when it's under the water, which I don't know if we're going to be able to, look at all the debris and stuff that's been built up in this area. This could be a decent little area that just to fish around, even if you're not fishing around that boat ramp, just because all the debris and stuff. So you do get some water over that boat ramp. I would check it out. That's worthwhile. And then you saw all the wash up and everything that has been building up in here over the years. You know, I didn't even notice that the first time, but that's a lot of debris and stuff to be able to flip around. Those bass love to get up in that stuff, just deep in that stuff, that nasty stuff where it's hard to catch them. All right, so let's keep moving back here. There is a little stump field out here you could check out. Looks like a hump or something with some pretty good stumps around it. That could be a good little spot to go check out. Got that rock that's there that we talked about. You got some laydowns just kind of throughout this area. So just check them out with your finder and find them. But the big ones I've marked, got 3 different big ones there. If I move the date up, try not to make you too dizzy, you'll be able to see those laydowns a lot better. So there you got a pretty big one. That one you don't even see there. That must be a newer one. There we go. Now that I move it up, now you start to see them. Big lay down there, big lay down there. They may have put those there, whoever that dock owner is, because those weren't there the year before. Then you got a really big lay down that's over here. So some pretty good stuff going on there. Let's keep moving up. We've got some more rock, just rock formations and laydowns. Pretty good laydown here. Pretty good rock. You know, this was a tricky lake because I had to go back through on that year that we were looking at first, 2011, I think it was where we were. I had to go back and look at it there, and then I had to pull it back and look at it more current because there were several different laydowns that I couldn't pick up out of this image that I could out of the last one. All right, so let's keep going on. Again, you got the laydowns there. I'm going to go back up to that other image so we can see it a little bit better. When we get a little bit further up in here, we got lots of laydowns and debris and stuff all along the shoreline. So you definitely want to look at that. Flipping, your little rage bugs and stuff like that around there. That's always, always fun stuff. You've got a bunch of it. You got a bunch of laydowns up in here, all kinds of debris. Just that whole little stretch right there from pretty much where it starts saying laydown all the way up through here. Then when you get up here, you've actually got a pretty decent little creek channel as well, that you could fish around. That's got tons and tons and tons of debris. This is up here in Turner Creek. Let's pull this back, kind of show you that creek channel. You can see here, the creek channel is almost non-existent. So I don't know if that creek channel is going to do you much good, but there is a time on one of these years where you can actually see that creek channel a little bit better. And that's why I was able to mark it like that. So I wouldn't spend too much time focused on the creek channel, like you would on one of those lakes out in East Texas where you've really got real good creek channels. So, but the good thing here to note is just, you've got a creek coming in. So they are going to pile up in this area, especially in the springtime. This is going to be a great area to go up and be able to fish around. All right, so let's keep moving down. We got some more laydowns that are out here. Again, just brush and all kinds of stuff to fish around. Bust out a chatterbait or a swim jig or something like that and just go crazy on all this cover. You've got some laydowns down there. You've got a ramp that's over here that doesn't look like it gets used too much as well, with lots of different cover around it with laydowns and stuff like that. Of course, you've got your riprap around your dams. This dam had an interesting little spot right in here. Let's pull it back to one more. And you can see where it kind of comes out really shallow right in here. So if you're going to fish around here, most people are going to get up here real close to the dam, but your better spot is probably going to be more like out here. So don't forget about that. Fishing out here, that little point over there works out really well coming out from underneath that bridge. You got some debris out there. This is your main channel that you have there. So stay focused on that. So if you're fishing, if you only had one spot to fish around this bridge, it's going to be here that you're going to want to put a lot of attention to, and then go over here and fish this right here as opposed to this, just based on how that creek channel sets up. All right, so keep on moving down. We've got rocks. We've got ramps. We've got a huge flat that's back here with a pretty decent little creek channel that comes through here. And I probably could have just marked that on up, but it just kind of gets washed out. But you can see pretty decent little creek channel that comes through here. And you don't have too many of these on this lake, but this one you can see pretty well. And it looks like it may actually have some contour changes that you could take advantage of on these big bends and stuff like that. So check out all the different areas where I marked where there was brush. You can see they're just like piles of brush. If I move this up, you'll be able to see it even better. More brush piles here. So all right in here, that looks pretty good. And that area right in there looks pretty good. And then, of course, if you can get up in here, you want to check out these bends. There's nothing really sharp that it does here until you get down here. This area right here, that's going to be a primo spot to be able to find fish. That dock with that red roof on it. Of course, you got a big brush pile right there that we didn't mark. I mean, giant brush pile. Now we've got it marked. And we've also got some brush piles on the inside of the turn, but focus on the outside of the turn right in here. There's probably more brush piles we can't even see. You got some rock, probably got some washout right in there. That's going to be your primo spot to be taking a look at as far as that area goes. All right, so we move on up here. Of course, this is all just real flat, real shallow. We did have some rocks that are up here, if you can get up here. Not too much going on there. And then you've also got a ramp over here all by itself. And you got another ramp that's over here. Now this one looks like I, might fish it depending on where the water level is, but I would definitely take a look at this one. It's got all kinds of nice buildup around it, algae. Doesn't look like it's been used in years. So you definitely want to look at those. Looks like I missed one here, a couple of them here. There's a boat ramp here. Let's go ahead and mark that one. And then there's another boat ramp just down south from that right here. I can break these things down, look at them 1,000 times, and still find new stuff every time I go to look at them. But this is just real flat, shallow. I didn't see too much back in there. As we move further up, we've got some debris that's right in this area. We've got a nice ramp over here as well. And then we've got some pretty good rock just right in here. So you can see it's right here off the edge. Some real good rock right in that area, some laydowns and things like that. So you definitely want to look at that. And then as we move further up, we've also got a ramp that's over here. This one looks like it might get used a little bit, but still not like a major public ramp. So that's going to be a good one. And I really like this rock that comes off the edge. Let me see if I can pull this date back so we can see it like we did earlier. Yeah, real good rock, real good point. And the fact that that point and that ramp is right there by the creek channel, that makes them even higher percentage areas to go and find some fish. Now, as we move further out here, I'm going to change that track because it looks like I've got a better image than I've ever had before. If it'll let me, it might not let me. Well, anyways, I'll move that track up and I'll make that creek channel come all the way up here so we can see it. Maybe focusing right in here. I don't see a lot of washout or anything like that, but you've got a nice little turn that comes here. And then, of course, right here where those laydowns are, these two creeks meet. This actually early, I don't even know if that's a creek. Yeah, there is a creek back there. So these two creeks meet somewhere right in here, and that's going to make that a really good area to fish as well. Let's keep moving down. We've got some boat ramps, additional rock. We've got a brush pile that's out here. Of course, in this image, the brush pile doesn't even exist, but if I move it up to the right image, you'll start to see that there is some brush out there now. You can see just the tips of it. So definitely look at that. There's a lot of debris and stuff right in this area. You got some rock. This spot right in here, it has a lot of stuff for them to set up around and hide around. So definitely go check that spot out as well. Trying to get back to our image that we were at. I thought that was a huge rock pile. I got all excited, and it looks like it's just an island. So we do have some more brush around these docks. Again, I'll have to move this date up for you guys to be able to see it. So as we get up here, there's a brush pile. It's not even it either. There it is. Brush piles there and brush piles here. Now you can tell a lot of this stuff changes. So it must be like different dock owners and stuff like that. But two good brush piles there. And when you fish those, circle down around and fish basically all this right here. Fish both those docks. You've got some brush there as well. Just some really good stuff. Actually, come on down and fish all of them. Every single one of them. From that purple dock until you get to about right here, you should be able to catch a fish between somewhere in that vicinity right there. All right, moving on down, we got some rocks right in there. We got some more rock right off that tip that's there as well. Let's move over and see if we see anything else down here. Just lots of different rock formations here. You got just some really heavy rock, like that big chunky rock. I love to fish around that stuff, especially if you can find the things that are different, like all these little stick outs where they just punch out. Those are the ones that you want to put a lot of attention on. All those, especially if you see shade around them. Those rocks heat up a lot faster and it provides shade. So it's kind of, double thing. In the wintertime, it works really well. In the summertime, the shade actually gives them some coolness as well. So coming back down here, we got rocks. We got more rocks down here. Some little isolated pile down here of those big chunky rocks. These are cool because in this area, there's, those rocks ended. Those rocks were way up there. Now you're getting into more isolated piles down in here. You've also got a boat ramp that you could take a look at. Another boat ramp down here. These two boat ramps don't look as good. They don't have all the rock around them. They don't have a lot of buildup on them and stuff like that. But depending on the type of year, all those boat ramps really come into play. And I've talked about that in several other videos, and I'll continue to talk about it. Do not forget about the boat ramp pattern. It can be magical sometimes. All right, so as we move up here and get closer to the point, we've got these little crop outs of rock. So right here looks good. And then, of course, anything off this point is going to be good. So right in here, fishing all around these rocks and things, that's going to be a really good spot to be able to hopefully find something. And then as we get down here, we're looking at more isolated stuff, right? We do have some rocks around this bank line, but we're looking more for the isolated things. So that would be right in here. This rock really comes out away from everything else. You got a nice little mini point going on right in here, maybe even a little ledge going on around that dock. You've got some more rock that's right in here as well. So if we pull that up and get the water up a little more so we can actually see, we might not be able to get the water up anymore. It's not moving. There we go. We get the water up a little more, you can see those are a little bit further off the bank line. So that rock pile there, that little ledge that we saw, it's totally underwater. So that could be pretty good as well. So check those out. I really like how those set up. Got some more rock out here. Nice little, almost like a little hump outside of those docks. So, most people are going to come in here and totally miss that fact that the best spot is actually right there, right outside that dock. You've also got some rock in here behind here that's really big, like those big boulders. Same type thing. I'm just pointing out the boulders here in most of those places. And you got a little ramp back there too if you wanted to fish that one. It's kind of hidden. And then when we get further out here, we're really starting to just focus on the edges of these points. So when I get over here to the edge of this one, you can see it's dirt, it's dirt, it's dirt, and finally you get into the rocks. So right in there where I marked where there was rock, there was also some debris in here. You got the same type things here. So not much going on until you get out to the tips, and then the rock starts. So I pretty much marked the rock from here to here. So you can see where that line is. And then as we come down in here, we've got another lay down. We got some more rock just off these tips. So get out here off the edges, get out away from that dock and look out here and see what you can find out here about both of those as well. And these two as well. Some really good hard areas to take a look at. All right, we're going to keep moving back. I'm just going to check my time real quick. We're at about 25 minutes. I don't think we're going to be able to finish this lake in 3 videos. We're going to have to do one more. So let's go ahead and finish this video down here at this ramp, and then we'll start the next one from there and hopefully be able to finish this one up. So as we move around that point, we've also got a boat ramp right in here. So you could take a look at that. And then look at these giant rocks. These things are going to be great areas to fish around. They're just huge. There's just so many things that they provide for the fish that they really like these areas. So definitely spend a lot of time fishing around these docks with these giant rocks around them. And you can see here, they're pretty much down that whole bank line, but I marked the ones that really come out. And so there's another big one right in there as well. And then we get down here to this ramp. Let's go ahead and go to that point at least and show you that rock off that point. So if you come out here, we've got some pretty decent little chunky rock coming out off this point. You may want to look at that point. That point looks like it has some pretty good potential. All right, so let's stop there. We'll stop there in that cove, and then what we'll do is we will come back on the next video for Google Earth. We'll finish up the rest of this stuff. We'll go out from there down, and we'll go over to the east, and we'll end up at the dam where we started. Then we're going to switch over, and we're going to talk about the contour side. So we're going to switch over and look at avionics mapping and see what we can find from an offshore hotspots perspective. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please do go out to our site, simplisticfishing.com. You can pick up all these waypoints, get them all ready for I basically pick up all the waypoints. I put them on the card for you. Take your card, you put it in your graph, you import them in, and you're good to go. Or I can also send you the digital files as well. So please take a look at that. If you can, leave me a like, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB, guys. Take it easy.